Introducing the 2024 Swedish boxing team.
Does anyone know who our first opponent is? Yeah, it's someone from Brazil. Her name's Leticia.
Hey girls, I'm Letty. Sorry I'm late, I couldn't find a hair tie. August 4th, 2024. We live in a clown world. This video, I'm showcasing my last week's training. So this is my first official week of training for competition. I do squats, bench, and deadlift, and a little bit of boxing. Didn't go that great. My first week was a little off. I'm working 2 shifts, believe it or not. So I'm working my normal day shift, and then I'm filling in at night for 4 hours. So I've been going pretty hard. I gotta tell you, man, it has been a weird week. This weekend I did absolutely nothing. So Saturday and Sunday I didn't do any training, I didn't do any drawing, I didn't paint any Warhammer figurines. I watched videos, read articles, did a bunch of research, and went down this huge rabbit hole, and I realized that society is doomed and we're all failing as a species. Oh my God, the 2024 Olympics is a microcosm of our society, and it just shows that we're doomed as a species. Yeah, it's pretty nihilistic, but it definitely does bring front and center some real issues that we have. Things that really bother me. So right off the bat with the Olympics, I decided to boycott it when I saw the opening ceremony, because I just realized that it's not aligned with my values, and they're, in my opinion, openly mocking Christianity, and that's just not cool. But the thing that really bugs me the most is when you look at all the stuff that's been going on. You have the the trans issue with the boxing. You got Palestine and Israel doing demonstrations. You got things of that nature. Like, the whole spirit of the Olympics has always been in the past that we put our differences aside for however long this competition is, and we all come together, and whether we're at war or conflict, don't like each other, and we have political differences, we all set that aside and we come together and we shake hands, and we compete. Sportsmanship. The way they started it off by dividing us on a ideologically. Right, they threw down the knife into the table, the Bowie knife, bop, right off the bat, and just set up the division. It was no other reason to do that than to create controversy, because immediately by opening with that ceremony they did, you were going to have a group that was for it, and you were going to have a group that's against it. So you're starting off the Olympic Games by dividing on purpose, in my opinion. I could be wrong. I don't see any other reason for that. It was said that, and it was just a vulgar display. It was just disgusting. I don't know what message they were trying to send or who that was for, but, my wife brought up a good point. It's just that it's France. They've always been a little, weird anyways. Yeah, fair enough. That they could be just displaying their culture and how proud of it they are. This is the world stage. It's their chance to shine. And I said, but, I don't know. It was gross. I was watching that, the blonde, the guy with a beard that was dressed as a woman who was doing the sexual, here's my question. Say you are proud of that. You want to be yourself and you want to display yourself to the world, and you're proud of what you are and you don't care what anyone thinks about you. Why does it always have to be overtly sexual? That's what I don't get. That's the one thing I never understood, is why are they pushing hedonism so hard when it's obviously not working? You know what I mean? If anything, it kind of evidences the Bible. The Bible tells you how you're supposed to live. Meaningful monogamous relationships where husband and wife are celebrated and the family unit is the core. And from there, everything, and then we got this debauchery, hedonism, and it's just all we have. I don't know. I really don't know what to say other than it was gross to me. That's just my opinion. Now, the trans issue with the boxing, I did actually post a retraction video because I thought, I don't know, I thought I was missing context from when I posted the original video, and I wanted to, really make sure that I got the story right. But even since I've posted that retraction it's gotten more convoluted because there's more than one of these women competing in the Olympics, and there's a bunch of articles that have sprung up. This one girl got paralyzed partially by a biological male that was playing volleyball, and he spiked the ball so hard at her that it caused her partial paralysis. And there's just a bunch of stories that come up. And the thought I had, like, we don't want to demonize anybody for the way they were born, and I just think, here's what I think. This is my opinion. All of this could be solved by providing everybody their own space. Men compete with men, women compete with women. And if we need to have an open division where anybody who wants to compete can, so be it. I mean, that's kind of what they have in powerlifting. Sort of. I mean, I compete untested where anything goes. Come as you are and use as much as you want. You get the freaks of nature, and then you get like just everyday average people that want to compete. Your chances of winning, and if you're natural, are slim to none, but you know that going into it. And to me, it just solves all the problems. You know what I mean? Everything's legal. If anything that you can use at your disposal, go for it. Maybe that's what we need to do. Just make one giant open division, and may the best freak of nature win. But one thing I definitely think we need to stop doing is just, we have to provide women their own space. That whole issue. What was it, Texas with the swimmer? That what was that swimmer's name? And they were forcing the girls to be subjected to him in the locker room, and they were uncomfortable with it. And if they spoke out, they had to go seek counseling to address their bias. And then it came out that this guy was like a predator, and the truth always comes out. And we all watched that unfold, and we were like, this is a joke. It has to be. I don't know. I hope that our society's coming to a point where we're waking up, and the people that have been quiet are starting to, they're starting to speak up, and this ideological bubble that has ruled the levers of powers for so long, and it thinks that everybody that disagrees with them is some fringe, a political far right, extremist. And as it turns out, no, it's 50% of the country, and it's like normal people, at least 50% of the country. And now that we're starting to speak up, I hope that we come to our senses, because this has just gone on long enough, and I'm just done with this guy. It's exhausting. Aren't you exhausted by this whole thing? It's like we've gone through these great lengths to provide this equity for what? For what? For what percentage of the population? Who is this for? Why are we doing this to ourselves? Why are we destroying our society? Why are we destroying women's spaces? You don't see this argument happen in men's spaces. Why is that? Why is this discussion only in one direction? I don't know, man. There's just no logic to any of it. And it's a clown world. It really is. All I can really do is mock and laugh at it. Do my best to keep my family above it. Point out to them what they're going to run into and how to protect themselves from it, and just sit back and laugh and watch it all burn down. You know what I mean? It's the end of the world as we know it. I got a ton of comments for and against, and I could go through all of them one by one. I would say the majority of comments support women having their own space, but there were some people that were clearly against it. But the one that stood out to me, Matt DeBoneless, he said, "Yep, we are deeply in the simulation theory now. It's insane. No other explanation for this crap nowadays. Tinfoil hat time." I really, honestly, I had this idea. What was it back in 2016, 2017? Right around 2016, yeah. They were talking about CERN, the Large Hadron Collider, particle collider, over in CERN. Was it Switzerland? Right on the border there, where they do, I think what they're doing is they're opening up demonic portals. No, I was watching this show. This kid's real smart kid was talking, and he was saying that he believes that we shifted into an alternate universe, alternate reality, where everything is just slightly off. And I thought, man, that actually makes sense, because I was living my life. I grew up in the 90s. I grew up in the 2000s. Everything was awesome. Technology was getting cool. Video games were getting cool. Graphics were getting better. Computers were getting faster. And then we had, like, we started with Facebook. What was it? MySpace was first, and then Facebook. And there was some really cool stuff. And then one day I wake up and it's just like a clown world. It's like, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. People are clamoring for communism and socialism in the United States. All of a sudden, we're evil, and everything's about like the LGBT, rights, and now all the shows are gay. It's like everything is just slathered with this stuff, and it's just all across the board. Now we're talking about racism. We're toppling statues of Abraham Lincoln. Just everything you think that you would see in like the Soviet Union, where they're toppling statues. I never thought I would see that in the United States. Now I can kind of understand some of the the ones in the Deep South, Civil War, that kind of stuff. I can see the argument for that. I can see the argument for both sides, but okay, that those are but Abraham Lincoln, Thomas Jefferson, like. Well, what are we talking about here? Like, how far do we want to go with this? Like, the world just has gone crazy. We have absolutely gone nuts. Like the stuff that we're arguing about online. We elected an octogenarian with dementia for president, knowingly, just because we didn't like a populist that, said the parts out loud that everybody else kept quiet. And and it's funny because we demonize the guy who said the parts out loud that everyone else kept quiet. But it's like we endorsed the ones who were doing the same things. They just kept it quiet. It's like, but you know what I mean? I don't know. It's like the hypocrisy. It's like, I don't get it. I don't get anything. There's not one aspect of modern life online that I understand or identify with or get. I'm a simple man. I'm an anachronism. I was born in the wrong era. I want a simple family life. I go to work. I make my money, I come home, we go to the movies, we go out to dinner, we have a good time, we participate in family sports together. It's a bunch of fun. And I have to navigate this world where, like, the politics are insane. We got these DEI initiatives, and even in our company that I'm working for, we have oh God, it's horrible. Like, it's permeating everything. The schools, what they're teaching in schools, it's just, I don't know what happened to, like, let's just fix the roads and maybe get the funding so that the lunches are better. We're not talking about gender studies in kindergarten. And then the people that are arguing for this stuff, like, what kind of drugs did you take that would give you that position? It's funny because both sides think that the other's insane. Like, they each of us look at each other and wonder how you could possibly think the way you do. But from where I don't know, I've always considered myself kind of in the middle, and I've always kind of quietly watched both sides and just laughed at both of them equally. But it seems like the older I get, the more conservative my values become, and that's because I have a family to protect, and I have some property, and I earn enough money where I don't want to give all of it back to the government. Like, I don't want to pay you because I went to work. I don't think that's fair. And I often thought that that's usually what people did. They graduated high school, they become activists for 4 years while they go to college, and then they start making their own money, and they realize, like, oh, this is how the world works, and then they become more conservative. That ain't what's happening anymore. I don't know. We've derailed somewhere. And I think it has to do a lot with inflation and the value of the dollar and the fact that you can't, go to work full time and support a family anymore. So, and I've seen that in my lifetime. That switch changed. What was it, 2008 when we had the first crash? We did rebound from that, but that was the first big red flag that not all is well, and that we are living in a Ponzi scheme where the government clearly does not represent us. That was a wake-up call for a lot of people, and that was when a lot of people became political. That's when a lot of us got involved. It's like we snapped out of the little happy bubble we were in where everything was just fine and dandy. And yeah, there was problems in the world, but they didn't really seem to affect us much. We still woke up, went to work every day, and, you know, you read the news and you're like, oh, that's a jackass. But, you know, that was really the, you know, except for when the towers got knocked down in 2001, outside of that, it's been kind of business as usual. But the first thing that really, really, really affected me and my family and my friends was when the market crashed. And was it 07, 08? That's when, you know, we were directly affected, and the amount of money that we made was not enough to support us. I don't know, it's crazy. And ever since then, it's just been this wild, what do they call that? Sine wave, up and down, all the way up to the point where we're at. It's been up and down in an upward direction. And like, they printed more money in the last 4 years than has ever existed at the same time. It's just crazy. And then I don't know what to do but laugh. I have no idea what to do but laugh. It's just, you read all the problems that are going on in the world, and I haven't even gotten to Europe yet. Ukraine, Russia, any of that stuff, China, Taiwan. We're just talking about our country. It's like, what happened to us? What happened to American patriots? I remember when I got out of the service, you know, people, you like saying you were a service member, that was a point of pride. After all we went through with our Vietnam veterans, and then, you know, with the Gulf War, you know, people were proud of it, proud to serve this country, proud to be Americans. And when did that flip? Like, when did that switch? I want to say it was right around 2010. That's when we started seeing that. Alrighty, this next comment. That other bloke, 9790, writes, I'm anti-trans and I don't give a FK what the freaks say. In the video, Angry Marine Rand, Olympic boxing, biological female boxer quits, I had stated I'm not anti-trans. Now, I want to be clear. I'm not anti-anybody. You as an adult should be free to live your life any way you want, and I support that 100%. I might not agree with you, but I support it. Freedom. Hell yeah, man. You do you if you think that's going to make your life better. What I am against, you jamming your politics down my throat. I don't need to take your cause up, and I don't have to agree with you, and I don't really think that we need to make accommodations for choices you are making. You decide to go through this surgery and change your body and do what you need to do to make yourself happy, and then you're going to come demand that we change our rules to accommodate you? Why? What? You made that decision. This is that whole thing of entitlement I've been talking about. It's like this generation that's coming up. Everybody thinks they're entitled. Everybody thinks they're entitled to money. Everybody thinks that they're entitled to living wages from work. They think that work's there to take care of them, and they're not there to serve. To be, you know, I get a job. You tell me what the job is, and you say, this is what I'm paying. Take it or leave it. And I agree. Okay, I'll do that. And then I come back and say, you need to pay me more. You're not paying me enough. And I'm like, but you agreed to do the job for that amount of money. Like, what's the problem here? We had an agreement. I didn't put a gun to your head and say you had to take it. So, like, these people that you know, they're pushing for communism and socialism, even though they don't understand that somebody's got to produce something. Like, the money's got to come from somewhere. So you're essentially stealing from people that are willing to work and provide for themselves. But it's just like this the whole attitude where everything has to be switched to accommodate them or whatever they decide to do. They can make these decisions and alter their lives any way they want to, and then we're supposed to change our rules. I just don't get it. I don't understand it. And I hope that mentality gets crushed. I really do, because it didn't used to be like that when I was growing up. I grew up knowing I was alone when I was born. I was going to be alone when I died, and nobody owes me shit. That's not to say we don't have a lot of help along the way, and we are supposed to help each other. And I hope that we continue to help each other. I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't have a lot of help. But to say that somebody owed me anything, Now, if anything, I owe them. I owe them for all the help they gave me, and I want to express gratitude and be thankful and continue to pay it forward. So if somebody's going through what I went through, I want to be there for them like people were there for me. But the minute that guy says I need to, let me tell you what, I don't need to do anything. And it's like, even like my son, I love my son to death, but he told me, you know, it's like something along the lines of like, I have to love him or whatever. And I was like, I don't have to like you. There is nothing that says I need you. I have to like you at all. I do like you, and I happen to love you very much, but I don't owe you shit. The only thing I owe you as a dad is accommodations. I got to make sure you're fed. I got to make sure you're safe, and I'm going to make sure you get to school on time. But outside of that, I don't owe you anything. But now, and it just so happens, we had a good laugh about it. You know, we're obviously joking with each other, but the point stands. The point stands. Like you have no obligation to anybody for anything. And as a society, I'm sick of us, you know, lowering the standards and changing the rules to accommodate the outliers, the smallest percentages. And these people, I don't know how they get to, like, I guess the more of a victim you are, the more of an outlier you are, the more status you have. And in the name of equity and inclusion, you know, we have to, you know, make all the trees the same height so they get all the same sunlight. So if you're a tall oak tree and you're growing over a maple, you got to chop that oak tree down so the maple gets the same amount of sun. Is that how we're doing it now? No, man, let's bring back meritocracy. You know, I'm all for, like, hey, you know, we should help each other. We really should. And I think that's what will come back, you know, once we get away from this mentality of being a victim, and once we stop awarding people for being a victim and recognizing them for their victim status, once we stop making how many intersectional lines across those lines of oppression that you check off as the more social currency you get, and we stop rewarding that stuff, and we start treating people for who they are and what they bring to the table rather than what they look like or what group they belong to, I think we'll get away from that. But I don't know, man. I don't think it's going to get better. I think it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse before it gets better. But definitely the more people that speak up about it, the better it will get. Ooh, I just got a fresh comment 2 hours ago. 129 Jasper 1. You're not anti-trans? I'm out of here. What does anti-trans mean? I'm anti-trans movement. I'm not anti-trans. Do I need to clarify that? Like, I think I already did. I said that already. I don't care what you do with your personal life, so I'm not anti-anybody. But I am against the movement. Like, absolutely, 100%. So is that the clarification I need to make? But anyway, I wrote that basically. I'm not anti-anyone. You do you. What I am against is someone tells me what cause I have to take up. I'm definitely against that. Or what I have to back or believe in. I'm definitely against that. I'm most definitely against what they're trying to do to our kids. That's the movement. But as far as your personal choice as an adult, I don't care. There's nothing to do with me. It's really none of my business. And just leave me out of it. And then he writes, I left. It's a gone from here. Okay, don't let the good Lord, or what is it? Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. You'll be missed, I think. But I wrote, it seems like you're still here. I don't quite get it, though. You tell me you're leaving. What is that supposed to do? Like, are you making a statement? Am I supposed to feel bad? Help me out here. I personally like having people that have differing opinions than me around, so it's a bummer. If you're leaving just because you disagree with me, like, that's stupid. Like, if you found my channel and you found me to be in some way entertaining, or you just thought, wow, look at this clown, and you just, like, enjoy watching me make an ass out of myself, or for whatever reason, like, I am that person. But if you're leaving just because we slightly disagree on definitions, to me, that's just stupid. I have plenty of left-leaning friends that won't talk to me, but I'll talk to them, and I still consider them friends. And the second they call me up and say, hey, bro, how you been? I'm going to be like, where the fuck you been, dude? And I already know where they've been because I know what their politics are. And I know why they don't talk to me. But no, we'll pick up just like we left off. To me, it's stupid. It's stupid to not talk to people because they don't agree with you. Now, unless we're talking something really, really egregious, like something that's harmful to, like some form of violence or rape or child predation or something that clearly crosses a line to where, you and I could just are enemies by virtue. Up to that point, there's room for everybody. We don't have to agree. I'll even talk to you if you're communist. I'm going to call you names and make fun of you and belittle you and tell you how stupid you are, but we can still hang. You know what I mean? We're cool. Try and impose your worldview on me and, might have to get socked up a little bit, but, we can still be friends. All right, next comment is from Knee Pain. I really respect this gentleman quite a bit. Respect you for following up. He was talking about my follow-up to the boxing scandal video. I did notice the original video was one of the many I saw, but didn't say anything because, well, I was really busy. It seems when other leagues disqualified for her high testosterone, and I read into that, a bit into that, it seems high testosterone can be an indication of other health issues. And a high contact sport, I could see taking precaution. Oh, yeah, high contact sport, boxing, like, yeah, I could see taking a precaution. So my question is why would the Olympics committee not practice the same precautions? Not for the other boxers, but for her. Yes, that's a super awesome question. So, again, I did feel bad for her specifically because of her condition that they weren't really clear about when they first started reporting on this issue. But now the Olympics. So there are definitely ties with the Olympics Committee and the World Health Organization. It's just there's a bunch of corruption. There's a bunch of corruptions. They make rules based on politics. As you can clearly see, this is all politics. Because they are going to get somebody killed. They're not going to stop until somebody gets killed. I guarantee you. I mean, there's been tons of reported injuries. There's been one where I think I touched on it earlier, where a girl almost got paralyzed because she got a volleyball spiked at her so hard by this dude that was trans guy that was like towering over every woman on that court, and then he was like gloating over her as she was laying on the ground twitching. Her arms were in the air because she got knocked out. So it's super unsafe for the boxers, and they're gonna get somebody killed. But the Olympics doesn't care. The Olympics is more interested in virtue signaling. They're part of. If you want to put the tinfoil hat back on, they're part of this push for a one world government. They're in there with the governing organizations, the WHO. I want to say the UN is adjacent to it. But there is absolutely a push for a one world government, a one world religion, a one world everything. And the Olympics is knee deep in that. And they've been corrupt for decades. Just looking up all of the Olympic scandals. And they are run more like mafia than anything. Oh man, it's bad. Just look up Olympic weightlifting and the scandals behind that. Now, it's been kind of an unspoken secret for years that Olympic weightlifting, everybody's on drugs. You can't win unless you're on drugs. But they went and started retroactively testing now that the tests have progressed to a point where they can pick up stuff that was, not available back in 10, 15 years ago. And all those samples are popping. So but it's all politics. Who they're stripping, who they're pointing out, who they're against, they are very selective about, and that's been one of those. That's why a lot of people that would be like Clarence Kennedy. I think who's the other guy that talks about it? Well, Clarence Kennedy's the most notable one. Like, he won't compete. He's not a natural lifter, and he thinks that they should just abolish drug testing in the Olympics, period, or get rid of the Olympic weightlifting as a sport because it's so corrupt. And it's been known for a long time that the second most corrupt is the boxing organization, the governing body behind boxing is super, super corrupt. So that sometimes I couldn't even answer you why they do the things they do, but you can sure that it has something to do with status and money and power. Like I said, I think I pointed out in one of my earlier videos, the Korean Olympics, when Roy Jones Jr. was robbed, so beyond clearly robbed of the gold, that it was like, there was even the boxer who won, when they raised his hand, he looked over at him like, whoa, wait, really? And then he went over and tried to pick Roy up to like show his support for him, and Roy just broke down. What do you do as a kid? You just lost gold. You think you soundly beat your opposition. And that's when Roy said, I'll never let a decision go to the judges ever again. No, it is just a huge corrupt organization. And like the opening ceremony, again, we're talking about this. I just previously mentioned it. Why would they have that opening ceremony knowing that it's going to cause division? Just everything about the Olympics is corrupt, and the only thing I could say at this point is that they can't be taken seriously as a governing organization, and I will no longer be supporting them. Simple as that. We vote with our dollars, we vote with our view time, we vote with our support, and they've lost my vote. I'm just not going to participate. Simple as that. It's a shame too, because all those poor athletes, they pour their hearts and souls, and I know what it takes to win. I know the dedication it takes to be a champion, and as a power lifter, I would say that that's probably a fraction of what it takes to be a champion boxer. It's a different use of energy, but I don't know. All I'm saying is that it takes dedication. You have to put that first in your life, no matter what you have going on. And to have it just mocked and belittled and stripped away from you in front of the world like that, it's got to be devastating. And these poor athletes only compete every 4 years, and they make no money doing it. I don't know, man. To me, it's a joke, and it's unfortunate, and it's sad that it's come to this, because I remember once upon a time the Olympics were pretty cool. It was pretty awesome. Well, I've droned on for about 32 minutes now, and that's about all I can say. I think I'm done with the Olympics. This whole thing, I'm just going to let the news come out, and then when I find out what the actual facts are, then I might do a follow-up video on the whole thing. But right now, I made 2 videos in a row, and after I made both of them, I found evidence going in both directions, and I'm just like, you know what, I'm going to back off of this one and find out what the real deal is. But again, I think 100% of this can be avoided by just letting women compete with women and men compete with men, period. If we just set those rules and we set that line in the sand, none of this would even be a discussion. Simple as that. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a dumb jarhead. And on that note, I do have to get my butt to work. I'm working tonight. I love you guys, and I will see you on the battlefield.